Hello and welcome to the Saturday edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I can await it, well, I can resist it no longer, I should say. This puzzle on screen is Line Sudoku number 2 by the mighty Phistomefel. This has been out for a few weeks, and I haven't frankly dared to try it yet. We've had it requested about 50 times, literally. Apparently a lot of people have tried this and got nowhere with it. It's got 5 stars out of 5 on Logic Masters Germany, and I have perused the comments over there from those people who have solved it, and there's just person after person saying, this is just too hard. And that's from people who have solved it. Everybody who has solved it, though, has rated it 100%. And the comments, are, as you'd expect for a Phistomefel puzzle, extraordinarily positive. But yeah, I am aware this one is apparently brutally difficult. So I've been waiting for a day when I had at least 3 hours, in theory at least, spare. I can get interrupted. It is half term at the moment, but hopefully that won't happen. It shouldn't happen today. So if this could well be, I'm guessing, the longest video we've ever done on the channel, or I've ever done on the channel, if I can solve it. If I can't solve it, my plan is to give it to Mark to have a go at in a video. If he can't solve it either, we might have to then sort of put our brains together and try and solve it together or something like that, both having attempted it in the past before. So we will try and provide you with some sort of logical way through this in the end, but it's going to be my go first. I always bagsy the Phistomefel puzzles. I think it's okay to tell you this as well. Yeah, I can tell you this. I have had email confirmation from Phistomefel last night, indeed, that Phistomefel is working on a Sudoku hunt for our patrons. Now, I will leave that with you as a thought, but it's rather cool, isn't it? I don't know when it's coming, but I know several puzzles have already been made for it, and it is well, it's very, very exciting. Anyway, that's a different topic. What else do I need to tell you about today before we kick off? Let's start with the Kickstarter. If you want to get a copy of Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits Volume 2 with or without spiral binding, it is up to you. Do get over to the Kickstarter. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. It is the only place you can get the book, and there are only a few days left. So please, please, please support us there and make this book as big and brilliant as it can possibly be. Next thing I need to mention, when are we next streaming? We're going to be having a go, or I'm going to be having a go, I believe, at a game called Overhaul. I should have got a picture of this, but this is a sort of, I don't know, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type game. You sort of go through dungeons and you have to solve things that look a bit like Sudoku puzzles, but while avoiding scary looking plants that try and hit you and bash you and things. And apparently it's very distracting. So it sounds brilliant and it looks brilliant, and I've no idea whether I'm going to be any good at it or not, but Mark assured me that he would be dreadful at it. Mark's not very into computer games, so the thought is that I will have a go at it and Mark will look at the chat and amuse you all there. I don't know when that will be. It might be Sunday night, which is tomorrow actually. I'm not sure whether it'll be tomorrow, or it might be Tuesday night. It won't be Monday night apparently, but anyway, that's the plan. Overhaul. Check it out. Now, loads more of you have solved Duality, which is our October monthly reward over on Patreon. I know I need to draw the winner of the competition. I will do that toot sweet. I also need to advise you, of course, that coming up we've got the 12 Labours of Hercules Sudoku Hunt. That's coming on the 1st of November for our patrons. By the way, all of the artwork, and you can see some of it in the title page, is drawn by Peter Venus. It's really, really good. I mean, I wish I could draw like this. But yeah, so it's an artistic and Sudoku extravaganza coming your way very soon. And very well done to Professor Cap, to Christian Verelv, sorry, that was just my text going, but that's okay. To Eric Peterson, Martin Jordan, Magnus and Catherine Nielsen, Daniel Demicky, Ian Washington, Gray Crisanto, Nicholas Sandgren, Melissa Stock, Will Semmer, Nim Batchelor, Walter Kloost, Rasmus Falkenberg, Hugh Davidson, Shane Zamora, Jan-Philippe Bultmann, St. Mac, and Jean-Yves Carrier. All of you got the correct answer. Very, very well done. And before I start on the Phistomefel, which I'm delaying, it seems, as long as I possibly can, a very happy birthday, Patrick. Your wife Danielle wrote to us and said it was your birthday today and you'd like a shout out. And we hope that you have an absolutely splendid day, full of cake, of course. And Danielle, thank you for the lovely email. Now, there is one more birthday to talk about today, and this is a strange one, but it might be Dilla, it might be Dyla's daughter. It's your 15th birthday today. I'm afraid we don't know your name. The only reason we know it's your birthday is from a comment that was on our stream the other night. And this comment was brought to my attention, so I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I hope you know who you are, and I hope that you have an absolutely super day, of course. And that is everything. My piece of paper is done. So, let's have a look at what Phistomefel has manufactured for us. I'm going to get comfortable and I will read you the rules. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, i.e. fill the grid with the numbers 1 to 9 so that in each row, column and 3x3 block, each digit occurs exactly once. So that's just normal Sudoku rules. Now, this is this rule, and I did do the first of these puzzles, I remember. For each triple of adjacent digits on a line, let's just take this line because it's only got 3 digits on it. One of the digits has to be the sum of the other 2, e.g. 2, not 1, 2, 5, 7. Yes, because 2 plus 5 equals 7. 6, 9, 3. Whoops, let's put the 3 in the right place. Because 9 is the sum of 6 and 3. And 8, 4, 4, oh good grief. Okay, so 8, 4, 4 would have to be like that, so the 4s don't see each other. So it says those 3 things are valid adjacent digits along a line. Digits may repeat on a line if allowed by other rules, as we've just shown by having a repeated 4. Do have a go. Do allow yourself plenty of time is my recommendation. Be guided by the video length. I pray I get through it. Yes, the way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I've got nothing. I mean, literally, I've got no idea where you start this. I can see we've got some slightly longer. I think the first puzzle of this nature had like patterns in the grid. This looks like one of those things you used to find in crackers. You know, the things where you get the metal filings and you twist them together and they join up. That's what this grid reminds me of, like shapes like that. So we've got a long line there, a longish line there, a meh line there, a short line there, another longer line there, and a loopy line here. What is my feeling about which? My feeling is the loop is probably the most restricted, but I don't really know. I remember on the first puzzle, it was very profitable to think about where the high number on a shape goes. So sorry, I'm pausing already because I'm trying to get my head around what that might mean. So on the loop, if we try and establish which of those cells can be the highest number, so let's just say it's that one, and just think about what that means if that's the highest number. So we know in each sequence of 3 on the line. Yeah, okay. So what was that? 2 of the digits have to add to the other one. So if I'm saying that's the highest one, then I'm saying that the sum of those 2 digits is equal to red. But that must be the same there, mustn't it? So the sum of the, well, because we're saying red is the highest, blue is sort of common to the sum up to the value of red in these three cells. So we know it's yellow plus blue. Well, blue's in the sum here, so that must be yellow. And this must be blue. Is that right? Yes, because if I take those three cells, they've got to add up to red as well. This is all on the proviso that red is there. Although actually the logic that I've done so far is not dependent upon red being there, because I've not used box logic. I know that's blue, but I've not used box logic yet to sort of tell me what the nature of these colours was. All I said was that red must be the sum of those two digits if red is the highest digit on this line, and that's true. And then, but those three therefore must include those two digits. But that's independent of where red was on the line. There might be some positions of reds where the forced nature of the colouring makes it impossible because yellow or blue would see each other. So what's that digit? Is that digit red then? No, not necessarily. It might be red. It could. What we could say is it could be red, which admittedly is not very helpful. It could be red, but like I was just playing with some numbers in my head. If that's a 9, and this is a 2-7 pair, then this is a 2-7 pair, but then this digit, it could be 9 because if we look at we can look at this string of 3. It could be 2 plus 7 equals 9, but it could also be 7 minus 2 equals 5. But it can only be one of those two things. Yeah, yes, and this is a little bit hard to visualize, but imagine that we rotated the loop down one cell. I think it's still fine, isn't it? I think it's true to say that if we rotated each digit on the line, or each colour on the line, round one cell, I still don't think anything lines. We get colours, the same colour aligning in a row, column, or box. So let's imagine, in fact, that we do it here. So if we move the red down one, then we've got to move the yellow. This yellow moves up there. This blue moves down one, so it goes there, and that yellow shifts down here. This is either red, so that would be 9 or 5 in our example. That would be blue, and you can see there that that's fine. And then if you shift it round again, everything... So that loop is weird. It sort of works. Well, the problem is, I don't know if I've learnt there's repeated digits on the loop. But I don't know what those digits are. There's absolutely no way of knowing, I don't think, what's... So, sorry, yes, let's take out the actual digits here and let's think again about what we can say. Have we learned anything useful as a result of this initial digression into the world and the mind of Phistomefel? The answer is only the vaguest of vague things. We know for sure that blue and yellow, wherever they are on the loop, repeat. So there must be alright, so there must be a blue and a yellow in column 1, and there must be a blue and a yellow in column 2. So blue and yellow, whatever they are, do not appear in those cells of box 1. That is quite clearly useless, I think. I mean, it would be very useful. Imagine you knew that those were the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And that was, alright, let's say that those digits were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. If you knew that, you actually probably the line's broken then. Because we're saying that, yeah, okay. The other thing we're saying is that blue and yellow are not 9. I know it's not much, but they can't be 9 because blue and yellow are the digits that sum to the high number wherever that is positioned along the line. In my example it's here, but it doesn't have to be because we can just rotate the line round, or the loop round. Right, so I mean, I think what we're learning is this is not where you start the puzzle. It is an interesting thing, but unfortunately it is not where you start the puzzle. So we've got to, I think, therefore, well, I think it's either going to be this box or this box where the magic's going to happen. And, well, when I say that, that's simply because they're so chocker full of lines. And I presume it's better somehow for the logic if you have lines covering every cell of a box rather than not every cell of the box. So maybe we have to start with this line, do we? That is a massive line and it's all in one box. So, what can we say about it? It's got 6 cells. There you go. Does it... I mean, oh, goodness me, I'm not sure what I'm meant to do here. I'm really sorry, and I know I'm being completely inarticulate as well, but I just want something to get my teeth into. And I'm not sure how to generate it in this puzzle. I mean, I'm almost tempted. I don't want to do this, but I'm almost tempted to just, you know, guess a number. Like, I mean, let's guess 9 here. If this is 9, let's choose 9s, 2s and 7s again. If this is 9, we know those 2 digits are summing to 9. But this is where it's just going to go crazy, because then the next digit, I suppose the next digit now has to not be 9, doesn't it? It's got to be the difference between those two. And then this digit's got to be either the sum of 7 and 5, which won't work, or the oh, so that doesn't work. Because that would repeat the 2, I think. I'm not even sure that's true. Well, that could be what we're meant to do, though. Maybe if, you know, as we go through this, we would find that, in fact, it's very hard to even fill a 6-cell line according to these criteria. That would be a 1. That would be a 3. That would be a 2. Oh, so it wasn't very difficult. I managed to do it straight away. I messed it up when I tried 972, but if I try 954, then this cell here, which is it's in a line with a 5, 4 and a 1. It's on a triple with a 5 and a 4, sorry, this cell here. It's either the sum of 5 and 4, which it can't be because that's the same as that digit, or it's the difference, so it's got to be 1. And then this cell can't be the sum because that would give us another 5, so that's got to be the difference between 4 and 1, which is a 3. And then that one again has to be the difference. So the line... Maybe that's a factor because we've got a 5 and a 4, sort of leading to a difference of 1, and then it chains down the line. Let's just try one more. Let's try 5, 4. Let's try 6, 3 doesn't work. That's interesting. 9 can't go with 6 and 3. Because what do you put there? You either got to put 9 or you've got to repeat the 3. So 9 is a funny one. It's actually more restricted than you think. 9, 8, 1? That would be 7. Then that would be 6. And then we go down in steps. Oh, hang on. No, 7 and 6. Oh, that doesn't... Hang on. Does that not work either? Maybe it matters which order you do it in. 9, 1, 8. That would be 7. Then that would have to be 1 again. Okay, alright, so that probably what happens is... Oh no, I really don't want to go down this road. I'm just wondering if the idea is literally I'm meant to try every No, this is not what you're meant to do. This is a Phistomefel puzzle. This is not the puzzle of anything other than a mind of the first class, and therefore the idea that Phistomefel would just make you guess numbers in the top. This is not how you're meant to solve this. This might be how I'm meant to get an appreciation for how the puzzle works, but it's not. The idea is not that I go through all of the digits here and work out every single combination and whether they work or not. I simply don't believe it. Let me just think about this one. If this is 8, 3, 5, that could be a 2. That could be a 7 then. And then we start to go upwards. And then that could be a 9. There you go. That's another sequence that works. Maybe there's a problem with putting high digits in the middle of the line. If I put 9 in the middle of the line, am I not going to get a repeated... Do I always get a repeated digit then? And the reason I'm wondering about that is that 9, you're always going to have to sum up to the 9. So the digits on either side always have to be the difference. So I'm thinking that that's only going to have the option of being 2 there. And that's right, isn't it? Because we can either sum 9 and 7. So this triple here, dup, 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 is either the sum of 9 and 7. Well, that doesn't work. That's 16. Or it's the difference. So that's 2 again. So, okay. So 9 in this box then. So 9 in this box is not in the middle of that line, at least. I don't know whether it gets confused, though, when you have, you know, a line that dips in and out of a box. Let's try 9 there. If that's a 9, surround that by 2, 7. You see this? Now all the pressure leaves the system. That can be 2. Oh, bobbins, 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 and that could be 5. That's so weird. Right, so you can't put a 9 in those 4 cells, but you can put a 9 in the middle of this one, because this line, its contents are not totally within one box. Wow, okay. Wow, this is brutal. I almost swore then. This is very difficult indeed. So what am I meant to be thinking about? If it's not, I just don't think it's going to be find every possible combination that can work. That would be really... It would be un-Phistomefelian, and I just refuse to believe that that's what I'm meant to do. I could do it. If I get totally and utterly stuck, I will do it. Unless I'm not meant to think about this box first. But this box feels much more difficult. This line does feel a bit like that. At least I can think about it without having to worry about it, well, with the additional constraint that I can't repeat a digit on it, which that one I can't do. This one is a shorter line, so surely under less pressure. This one can dip in and out of its boxes. It occupies 3 different boxes. It just must be this line. This line is where we're meant to look, possibly with some hugely brilliant insight relating to the loop. Right, alright, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try parity instead. Because what we can say on this line here, I think... Right, if you think about 3 cells in a row on one of these lines, because everything is either the sum of 2 digits or the difference between the other 2 digits, if you start the line with 2 even digits, that is not going to work, is it? Because if they're both even, doesn't the whole line now just become even? And there are not 4, well, there are not 6 even digits in Sudoku puzzles. Because this digit would either be the sum of 2 evens, which is even, or the difference between 2 evens, which is still even. So that would be even. Now that's got exactly the same profile, so that the evenness would propagate down the line, and that doesn't work. So, does that provide a sensible way of thinking about the puzzle? I know that a line doesn't start with 2 even digits. So it must start with either an odd and an even, or 2 odd digits. Let's try 2 odd digits. Maybe there's some weird reason that doesn't work. If it starts with 2 odd digits, this digit is either the sum of 2 odd digits, which is even, or the difference between 2 odd digits. So that digit is even. Right, and then the next digit is going to be odd, because it's either the sum or the difference of 2 digits of different parity. And then the next digit is odd, because it is the sum or the difference between 2 digits of different parity. And then the next digit is even. So on this line, if you start it with 2 odd digits, you get 2 even digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you get 2 even digits, and they are separated by 2 odd digits. Yeah, that's interesting actually. Imagine that the line extended up off the grid here into another cell that was somehow in this box. It actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's in the box or not. The next digit, if this line extended to a cell in sort of row 0, column 1, that would be an even digit, because it would be the sum or the difference between 2 odd digits. So actually, alright, so a 6-cell line certainly a 6-cell line that is all in the same box. So it can't be. You could, if you had a 6-cell line. I'm just trying to think about whether it's a general proposition for a 6-cell line, or whether. I'm worried that sorry, I'm being totally inarticulate again. I'm worried a 6-cell line that can dip in and out of boxes could just be fully even, because it can, it's not constrained to just have 4 even digits in it. Certainly this line, well, yes, okay, this line has 2 even digits on it, doesn't it? Because yeah, this is right. If that starts even odd on the others, sorry, well, it doesn't matter whether it's odd even or odd or even odd, or even odder. That's what I feel I am, even odder than the average bear. Now, these 2 cells, that cell there is either the sum or the difference of those 2 cells, so it's odd. Now, that cell is also therefore odd. Now, this cell is even. So again, you get a gap. 1 even, odd, odd, even. And now, for as long as you extend the line, you will keep that sequence will just propagate. It will repeat. So again, this line, starting like that rather than the other way, has 4 odd digits on it and 2 even digits on it, no matter what. And we know that because this one cannot start double even. because then it's all even and the world breaks down. So this line is 2 evens and 4 odds. So these cells have to have 2 evens on them. Right, I've got a deduction. I've got a deduction here. Yes, okay. I don't know how to display my deduction, but let's make that cell even. So if that's even, I know it's then going to go odd, odd, even, and then it will go double, odd again. So this is not necessarily the way that this line's parity will evolve, but it will have this structure. It will have to contain 2 even digits and 4 odd digits, no matter which way it starts and where the even digits are. Now that means that these 3 cells are 2 even digits and 1 odd digit, just because of the nature of Sudoku digits. The digits 1 to 9 have 5 odd digits and 4 even digits. So, could we make both of those even? And the answer is clearly no, because we know that lines that start double even continue double even for their whole journey through life. And if I double even the whole of this line, this cell becomes a 5th even digit in box 1, and that is nonsensical. So that means that the 2 even digits that I have to include on this line, because they can't be there, makes that cell even. Now, does this line... Yeah, this is beautiful, actually. This is actually important, because now we know how this line moves. And I say that because how could this cell be even now? Well, it can't be, because if we start a line with double even, the whole line becomes even, and I've got the same problem in box 1. I can't have 5 even digits. So that digit being even means that digit is odd. And that digit being odd, we know that we know this cell is the difference or the sum of those 2 cells. So that's odd. And then we know this is the sum or the difference of those 2 cells. So that cell's even. So we get our pattern. And now that's our 2 even digits. So that's odd. So there we go. Now we've got to be careful. This line is not necessarily this parity. So I'm going to get rid of it. But this line I have now proved it looks exactly like this from a parity perspective, which is really cool. Well, or is it? I've learnt these 2 digits are odd. That's literally it. So something in this box is presumably what I have to do, but how on earth do you get... Well, okay. Okay, I don't know much about this line, I don't think, but I do know it's not an only even line. And that's because if it was an only even line, those 3 digits are sequential on this arrow-shaped line, and they can't therefore all be odd, because that would be saying that this digit, which is the sum or the difference between these 2 cells on the line, is odd. Well, if you add 2 odd numbers together, you get an even digit, and if you take the difference between 2 odd numbers, you get an even digit. So that is not correct parity. So this line has at least 1. No, it has exactly 1 even digit. Oh, hang on. This is weird. Oh my goodness me. No. Oh, that's so close to being amazing. I thought I'd spotted something absolutely amazing then, but I haven't. That's so... Right. I got very excited because I thought this line could only have 1 even digit on it. And then I thought, well, if that's true, all of the odd digits are in those cells of this box, and all of those 3 have to be even, and that would make that whole arrow even, which is a massive thing. But then I realised, rather annoyingly, that on any line, we know we've got this sort of weird pattern going on, where if you get an even on the line, you've then got to have two odds on the line and then another even on the line. So what I could do to get two evens on this line is that. And isn't that Bobinsworthy? And the answer you're looking for is yes, that is Bobinsworthy, Simon. Bobbins McBobbins. So what's wrong with that? That is the question I want to ask. Now that would mean that these cells have to include two. It doesn't. It just doesn't work. I know this is strange. There are probably very few people who think it's stranger than I do, but this just doesn't work. By which I mean, I now know that these cells on this arrow are, from a parity perspective, a single odd digit and two even digits. But how can I have two even digits so close together on a line? I clearly can't have the two even digits sequential, because if I do, that digit's also even. So the only way this would possibly work, and you're all going to be ahead of me here, the only way it could work is to make the two evens non-sequential and do that, but now the parity's wrong, because these two digits are either the sum or the difference of those two digits has to be odd. And it wouldn't be, it would be even. So this doesn't work. This is really amazing. So this puzzle has switched from being about high digits and what that force is on the loop, into being a parity puzzle in which I can now say for certainty, I think this line is even, because now these cells have to be, they can't be two even. There cannot be two even cells on this line. And the only way they could have been two even cells was those two, which we've just proved is impossible. So there is one even cell on this line, which means to have the coterie or the quorum, or to make even quorate in box 2, means those three have to be even. Now if those three are even, these three are sequential on the line. Well, as soon as you get two sequential evens on any line in one of these weird liney puzzles, everything on the line becomes even. So those all become even. So this line is entirely even. Now, what does that mean? I'm tempted. I'm very tempted to pencil mark it. I tell you, I'm quite proud I've even got this. I know it's not a digit or anything, but it feels like progress towards a digit. 2, 4, 6, 8. So if you do put 8, 4. I'm just wondering about 8. 8, I think, might have to go with 2, 6 on the line, because if you put 8 and 4 in adjacent positions on the line, doesn't the line just have to be full of 4s and 8s? And that's not going to work, because you can't, if the line is just full of 4s and 8s, which it would be, you're going to get a repeat. There are only 2 digits, but there are 3 cells in that column. There are 3 cells in that row. Because each digit, if you put 8 and 4 in adjacent cells, the next digit is either 4 plus 8, well it's not that, or the difference, which is another 4. And although you could put another 4 there, what are you then going to do with this cell? Nothing. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's nonsense. So 8. So if there's an 8 on the line, it must go with 2 and 6. But that could be, okay, that could be 8, that could be 2, that could be 6, that could be 4, and then that would give me another 2. Okay, right, this is under some sort of pressure All right, how do we codify that pressure? How do we work out what the actual so if there is an 8 on the line, it must go with 2 or 6. So if that's an 8, that must be 2, 6. That then can't be 8, must be 4. Oh, maybe I could do it the other way round then. 8, 6, 2. No, that just gets the same problem. That does have the opportunity now to be 6 or 2, but either break. Right, okay. So all I think I'm learning here is that is not an 8. That's not able to be 8. Let's try whether that one can be 8. If that's 8, you get 2, 6 here. That can be 4. Oh, that might work. That's so strange that it can work that way round. Hang on. So 2, 6, you can go 4 there. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do it that way round, don't I? Doesn't this now have the... It does. I don't believe it. That is so peculiar to me. Right, so I can't generically rule 8 out. I thought, given that one couldn't be 8, how could this one possibly be 8? But apparently it can be. Can that be 8? Let's try that. If that's 8... Hang on, if that's 8, what's then happening? So if that's 6 and that's 2. No, that doesn't... Oh, that's so strange. No, okay, right. If that's 8, it doesn't work. And that is because this is basically part of a common sum, this cell here. Because yes, okay, maybe the way to think about this line is in terms of the high digit on it. Because if I do put 8 on the line, 8 will be the highest digit on this line. And therefore, the digits either side of the 8 in any triple would have to be summing to 8. And what you can see there is that those two cells can sum to 8, no problem. But this is common to the sum to 8 that's in that sum and that sum, which implies those two digits are the same number, which is clearly never going to work. So actually, that can't be 8, and also this one. Oh, whoopsie. Also this one can't be 8. Hang on, let me just delete that. So this one can't be 8. Now we might be able to propagate that. Yeah, how could this be 8? If that's 8, again, 8's the biggest number on the line. So these two cells are summing to 8, and these two cells are summing to 8. And therefore, those two digits have to be the same number again. Yeah, it's not possible to put 8 here if you put 8 here, because that would imply this has to be a 0, and that won't work. So that's not 8 either. Now if that's 8, no, that also just doesn't work instantly. I can see it. I don't know whether everyone else can as well, but that would be implying these two cells sum to 8, but also those two cells sum to 8, and that digit is common to this triple and this triple, and therefore those two cells have to be the same number to make that work. So actually, if 8 is on this arrow-shaped region, it's there. But what I'm now seeing is that is a 2, 4, 6 triple, and that is a 2, 4, 6 triple. Oh, yes, okay. Oh, right. Okay, I'm now going to transgress and go across here again. Because those 3 digits... Oh, maybe I should have done this first, you know. Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, golly. I might not have had to worry about all of this, Gubbins, because I'm suddenly thinking, these are 3 even numbers. So can I now actually learn more about this line? Because remember, we know there are 2 evens on this line, and I know that they are spaced apart. So there's an even, then there's 2 odds, then there's an even, then there's 2 odds, etc. So if this is even, I have to go 2 odds, and then that's even, and that's 5 evens in the row. So I've learnt the parity of this cell. It's odd. Now if that's odd, that would be even. That would be odd, that would be odd, and that would be even. So I've either got let me just think, or if that's even, that's odd, and that's even. So I've either got 2 evens in these cells, or I've got 2 even. Oh, I've got 2 evens in those cells. That's very different, isn't it? So although I've maybe this was important then. Because I've either got 2 evens here or 2 evens here. Oh, so is this always odd then? So if that was even, why is that breaking? If that's even, I've got double odd here. Yeah, and I've got double odd there. So I've got 2. Yes, so that cell's always odd as well. Okay, so I have learned a little bit. Okay. Here's another thing I've learnt. There must be an 8 on this line now. Hang on. I also know, don't I, that because I worked out that you couldn't put 2 evens on the end of this line, because that broke this line, because this line would then have been required to have 2 evens on it, which are impossible in 3-cell streak. So there is 1 even on this line. Well, you can't have 1 even if you put the even at the end, because then there would be another even at the other end, because there always has to be 2 odds between. The lines always go even, double odd, even. So now one of those 2 cells is an 8, is what I'm now going to claim. Now we know that the 8 cannot be involved with a 2-6 sum, because that's going to put far too many 2s and 6s in this box. So the 8 is either going to be... Oh, the 8 could be with a 9, couldn't it? Oh, hang on, I hadn't thought of that. Hang on, how does that work then? Oh, sorry, my brain is corpsing again. If that's 9, I'm wondering if I can force there to be a 9 on this line. If that's 9, let me just try this. I'm not immediately seeing it. 2, 7. Hang on, that's got to be even. I don't like the look of this at all. Aren't I always going to get a repeated digit in these 2 cells if I do this? Yes, of course I am. That's really interesting. Oh wow, okay, and this is another thing I've not appreciated at all. If you try and put the highest digit on this line in either of those 2 cells, you get a mathematical impossibility. Let's try and put it there. Well, there it's quite difficult to see. It's not, but because we know that in this triple, these 2 digits are summing to 9, and in this triple, these 2 digits are summing to 9, and this cell is common to both sums, those two digits must be the same number. And that's because we're always summing to this number, so we can apply that logic. If this was a lower number, we could have a difference, and that would get us out of jail. But here there is that logic would just apply if either of these digits was the highest number on this line. So that means that 9 in this box is now on this line, and is presumably going to have some interaction with the 8. Yes, it must have it must be involved in 1, so there must be a 1 on the line. Surely. Because wherever I put the 9 on the line... Oh, can I put the 9 in the middle of this line? No, it's going to give me exactly the same problem. Oh, is that... Oh, hang on. Is that... Maybe that's another... I think that this puzzle... There are all these like weird things that happen on lines that you never realise until you investigate them. Maybe you can never put 9 in the middle of a line. Well, I'm not sure if that's true. If you have a line that dips in and out of boxes, it might not be true, actually. But it's certainly true here, for exactly the same reason that we had a problem there. If you try and put 9 in the middle of this line, then the problem here is that those two digits are summing to 9, but so are those two digits summing to 9, because that's a triple on the line, and so's that. That digit is common to both triples, so those digits are forced to be the same number. So you can't put 9 on this line in the middle. So the 9 is now on the edge of this line, and one of the triples is going to interfere with an 8. It's going to have an 8 on it. Even if the 8's here, and the 9 is here, that's the furthest apart they can be, but this triple still involves 9, 8, and therefore 1. So there must be a 1 in what... So this must be a 1-8 pair, is what I'm thinking. Yes, that's true, but not only is it true, it works, because now there's a 9 in one of those, so we can say what goes on the other end of the line. Imagine this was a 9. So what's going to go into this cell? Well, it can't be the sum of 1 and 8, so it's got to be the difference between them, and that's 7. So we don't know the order, but we do know that this line is like this. And so I know these cells are a 3-5 pair. Oh, this is beautiful. So I know what those digits are now, because one of them must be the sum of 3 and 5, and one of them must be the difference. So that's a 2-8 pair, which means that well, it means that I've got to put 4 and 6 on this line here. So 4 and 6 are in those cells. What's that digit then? So that digit is either the sum or the difference of these two digits. Which I think it's just so peculiar. I can't quite believe it, but I think it's got all sorts of options. If that's 8, then obviously we can't be adding this 3 or 5 to get this digit. So we're going to be looking at the difference, but that means that this is 3 or 5. But both of those seem possible. If this is 2 and that's 3, it could be the difference, and that would allow that to be 1. Yeah, I mean, this has basically got all the odd numbers, hasn't it? It could be 7. It could be 2 plus 5. The only odd number it can't be, I don't think, is 9. Because there's no combination between these two numbers that seems to get to 9. Right. Okay, so there is a 9 on this line. But we've just worked out we can't put 9 in the middle of this line. You can't do it, but for exactly the same reason I couldn't put 9 in the middle of that line. Everything on this line sees itself. So if you don't follow it, just go back to the logic we just did. There is no 9 in the middle of that line. So there is a 9 in one of those two cells in this box. And that means, look, we can ask where 9 goes in row 2, and it's got to go over here, because it can't go in any of those cells. So okay. So 9 is on an end of this line. Sorry, and I know I'm being incredibly slow here. I'm trying to understand if that means I can do better with the parity than I've done at the moment. If that's a 9, what's that telling me? This cell oh, bobbins! I just can't get my head around it. I'm sorry. I just feel like I've got too many options still. If that's a 9, that cell could be a 4 or a 6. I don't think it can be a 6 because wouldn't that go 9, 6, 3, and then I think it breaks after that. But if that goes 9, 4, this would be a 5. 4, 5. That would be a 1. 5, 1. Would that be a 6 then? 1, 6, and that would be a 7. But then the thing that I think is even more complicated is what if that's an odd number? Then it's got loads of options. If it's even, I think that has to be a 4 if this is a 9, but it doesn't have to be a 9. That could be a 9. Oh, if that's a 2, 4, 6 triple, then oh, I've got it. Right. Oh, this is beautiful. It's beautiful and absolutely barbarically difficult. Okay. When I worked out where the even digits were on this line, I worked out they were either in those two cells or in these two cells. But now I know that the digits are 4 and 6 that I've got to put on this line. So if I put 4 and 6 there, I've got too many digits. Too many even digits. I've got not put 8 in this row and I've already got 4 even digits. That's never going to work. So this is not 4 or 6. And therefore, whoopsie, this is not 4 or 6. So this is 4 and 6. And I've got a digit. I've got a digit. 57 minutes. I have got it. I've got 2 digits. I've got 3 digits. I've got loads of digits. I've got loads of digits. Because if that's a 4, 6 pair, that's a 2. And if that's a 2, that's an 8. And that's a 2. And that's an 8. And that's a 1. And right, and that's a 2. Now, can we do more than that? Probably. Right, these are both even. Let's label up our even digits in excitement. Right, these are all odd now by just matching up this row's quotas. Those are 2 odd digits. Has that affected what this can be? It probably has. I'm going to delete all the options now because if this is 2, right, if this is 3, this could be 5 or 1, whether it's the sum or the difference. If this is 5, 7 or 3, it's still got every single, okay, so that's actually done nothing. It's still got all the options. That's quite extraordinary. Right, so now, okay, how about this line though now? Because now I know whichever side the 9 is on, it's not next to the 6, don't I? Oh, yeah. Right. So if that's 9, because this can't be 6, and the reason it can't be 6, remember, is if it goes 6, it has to go 3 next, because these two cells have to add up to 9. And then this digit has a problem, because it has to be the difference. It can't be the sum of 3 and 6. We've already got the 9 here, so it's got to be the difference, but the difference is the same number again. That won't work. So what we're actually learning now is whichever one of these is 9 is going to be adjacent to a 4, which means that the next digit after that is going to be a 5. So if it goes 9, 4, 5 or 9, 4, 5, there is a 5 in one of those two cells. And then the next digit is going to be a 1 because it's going to be the difference between 4 and 5. And that, oh, I see, yes, okay, so that digit is also here, depending on where the 9 is. So this is a 1-5 pair. Okay, and then, so is the other digit, I think, 9, 4, 5, 1. Then we'll get the sum, which is the 6, 5, 1, and the sum of, it must be the sum of 1 and 6 to give 7. Right, so this is a 7-9 pair. But we don't know that. Okay, right, that's weird. Look, we've got a 7-9 pair here. I've got a horrible feeling that there's a clever way we could have learnt this immediately. Maybe there's some thinking you can do around these lines and immediately conclude they must have 7s and 9s at the end of them. Or maybe that's what I would have got if I had, oh, that digit's known. Well, hang on, I was just getting, because I was thinking maybe if I had at the start sort of just guessed all the numbers here, I would have discovered that only 9s and 7s. Well, I don't think that can be true, because 9s and 7s were a function of this being 4 and 6. So if 2 and 8 had been allowed on this line, I think maybe it would have been more complicated. I don't know. But look, this digit is now not 1, 5, 7 or 9. That is 3, which means that's 3, that's 5. And now look, those digits are a 1, 4, 6 triple to complete this row. I don't know the parity. These digits are all odd. They are, we can see exactly what they are. They are 5, 7 and 9. And these digits are known. They are 3 and 8. Again, alternating parity. So if this cell is even, this cell is odd. If this cell is odd, this cell is even. Oh, sorry, look, we can just do this line. Oh no, we can't. Hang on, I thought for some reason they were connected. They are not connected. Okay, alright, but that can't be a 6, because 6 is not the sum or the difference of double 2. That's got to be a 4. This is where we find this line doesn't work. 4, right, that can't be 2, so that must be 6. And then that can be 8, I can see. Can it be? And it can't be 4. Yeah, that's got to be 8. That's lovely. So this arrow gets finished. There's an 8 on this arrow at the bottom. Right, and oh, now maybe we come back over here now, do we? Right, oh, hang on. Right, I'm just going to change the colour of these blue ones because those don't need to be even, do they? Let's just use purple for a moment here. I don't want that to be red either. I'm going to make that green. No, I'm not. I'm going to make it grey. Grey. So, okay, let me think about this, because now, remember we know that there are 2 repeated digits on the loop. Now, what's that saying to us? There are 2 repeated digits. So, right, so imagine purple was 1 or 5. That's not going to work, because if both of those are 1, you're ruling 1 out of these cells. So, right, okay, so these digits, which of course they don't have to be here, this is where this is going to get very complicated, but because we could be, you know, rotating our loop around, but we know that the repeated digits now on this line are not 3, 4, 6, 1 or 5. So they are from 2 2, 5, 7 and 8. 2, no, not 5, I've just said 5. 2, 2, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, they're from 2, 7, 8 and 9. But, well, I'm immediately asking myself, no, this is where it's going to get really difficult. Sorry. It's the repeated digits that are from 2, 7, 8 and 9. There's some logic here and it's just eluding me. It's just eluding me. What's that mean? What does that mean? If I'm struggling to, oh, 8 by Sudoku is nearly locked onto the line. There's an 8 in one of those 4. I keep seeing the 2, 7 and 9 though and thinking that they're very natural partners on one of these lines, aren't they? If 8 is involved on the line, yeah, maybe that's the way to think about it. Can 8 be on the line? Now, let's just consider that for a moment. If 8 is on the line, yeah, okay, this is one way of thinking about it. There might be a more elegant way to think about it, but if 8 is on the line, how would we pair it up? We've got choices. We've always got choices with this puzzle. If 8 is on the line, it could be the biggest number on the line. Now, if it's the biggest number on the line, there must be 2 other digits on this line that are repeating that sum to 8. Well, what are they going to be that are not going to break this arrangement? The answer is nothing, because we can't use 2, 6, because that's going to rule 6 out of those cells. We can't use 3, 5, that's going to rule 3 out of that and 5 out of that. That's double broken. And we can't use 1, 7, because we need a 1 in one of those. So the only way 8 can be on the line is if it is not the biggest number on the line, and therefore it's a repeated digit on the line. But then there's got to be a 9 on the line, because 8 is not the biggest digit, so 9 is the biggest digit. And what does 9 have to go with? 1. And that means there's a repeated 1 on the line, and that's broken. So that is a very long-winded way of me concluding that 8 is not the repeated digit on the line. So the repeated digit can't be 9. Oh, it's so easy when you see it. Oh, it's so easy when you see it. I'm so slow. But, right, of course, now, let's remember the nature of the repeated digit. The thing that we started this whole loop investigation thinking about was which is the highest digit on the line. And then we worked out that there had to be 2 digits that were adding up to that high digit, and that those digits had to repeat. Well, 9 cannot be a middly digit on that line. It's got to be the highest digit. So 9 cannot occupy our Neapolitan little Battenberg pattern here. So these, well, no, it's true to say they are 2 and 7. And it's true to say there is a 9. It is, no, is it true? Is it true? No, it has. Yeah, okay, this is really complicated. It is true to say that 2 and 7 are the middly numbers that are repeating on this loop. That is true. But then it is also true to say that there is at least 1 9 on the line. Now, the problem here is I don't know where the purple and yellow lines are on this line. They could be here, but they needn't be, because this might not be the highest digit. That could be the highest digit, or that could be the highest digit. And wherever the highest digit is, obviously, it's going to move the positions of our Battenberg here. But what we do know is that we can't have double 5 in any of these. So the highest digit is now 9 somewhere. That could be opposite. If this was the arrangement, this could be another 9. That would work. But it could also be the difference between 2 and 7, which is 5. So that could be a 5. So all I think we're able to do here, and this, I'm loath to do this, I'm also wondering whether I'm meant to get rid of my colouring actually. But these digits now are definitely 2 and 7, definitely 9, and possibly 5. Sorry, I know I'm just, again, I'm pausing. Well, okay, there's no, all right, there's no 8 on the line. Right, so that's 8 then by Sudoku. That's an even digit. So there's an 8 down here. I'm just wondering if there's some way I can conclude more about this loop. I mean, obviously we can't put 7 and 9 in this string without breaking this. But there must be a 2 and a 7 in this. Oh, is that it? Yes. Because we've worked out that the repeated digit, the repeated digits on the loop are 2 and 7. We can't just put 2 2s in here. That's clearly not going to work. So we've got to divide the 2s and the repeating 2s and 7s. There's going to be a 2 and a 7 in that string of digits, and there's going to be a 2 and a 7 in that string of digits, and that means that cell's a 9. And if that cell's a 9, we know that's a 4. So that's a 5, we know that's a 1, that's a 6, and that's a 7. And that's a 9, and that's a 7. And the top of the grid is nearly done. Now that being a 9 is really good, because that means those cells are a 2, 5, 7 triple. So we now know that there is we know it's not double 9 on the line. There is a 9 in here and a 2 and a 7. Because we know the 2 and the 7 must repeat on each limb of this loop. I totally appreciate this is really I'm finding it very hard to keep track of, so goodness only knows whether anyone is still with me at this point. But I think that the logic is sound. Unfortunately, what we don't know is we still don't know, and I'm better off deleting all of the colours. I don't know where the high digits are on this loopy thing. And until I know that, until I know the position of the 9, I don't know exactly the position of the repeated digits. If that was the 9, those would be digits, wouldn't they? And those two would be repeated, and that would be a 5. I don't know. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of this column. We need a 6 and an 8. And a something. A 3, I think. Yeah, okay. 3, 6, and 8. And that's not 8. So there's definitely an 8 down here. There's definitely... oh, there's definitely a 2 and a 7 over here. This is really weird, isn't it? I don't think I've got a good way of working out how this works, though. And I tell you what's also slightly terrifying. I sort of think 3-cell lines in this puzzle are almost, and they're not quite absolutely useless, but they really are. They aren't massive restrictions. At least they don't feel like they are to me. Let me think about this. What on earth am I meant to be doing now? this line here. Oh, okay. All right. This line here's got an 8 on it, and 8 is not the biggest digit. Sorry, 8 is the biggest digit because it can't have 9 on it. So we know that this is an 8 and 2 digits that sum to 8, and those digits are not 3 and 5. So this line is either 178 or 268. Now, which one of those is it, is the next question. I don't know. Oh, there's an 8 on this line as well, by Sudoku. Ooh, maybe that's the line we've got to think about. Ooh, no. Okay, that looks worse at first blush, because I literally know, well, I know almost nothing about these digits. Certainly in terms of their impact on whether this can... I mean, it's still possible this could be 891. So we don't even know that 8 is the biggest digit on that string. Alright, so it's got to be this string, doesn't it? This string of digits, for some reason, is restricted. So how is that going to be most likely restricted? If that is... Well, if that's 817, all of those become even, and that would give me all of these have got to be odd. Hang on, that might break. Let's just have a look at that from parity. If this is 817, let's just do that. If that's 817, those 3 are all even. That means that's even by parity. Don't know if that breaks or not. Those have all got to be odd. Oh, no. That's odd. That's even. So we can deduce immediately, therefore, that that is odd. That means these two will become even. You get quite a lot done, don't you, here? This would be a 2-4 pair. Oh. Alright, and then I wonder whether this line comes into it, because what we can't do is start this line with double even, because that's going to give us too many even digits in this column, because it'll make the whole line even. So that's going to have to be odd, that's even, that's odd, that's odd. Okay, I don't know whether that's possible or not. So I don't think this is broken. Is there a problem with that being 2, 4, 6 for any reason? How do you stop? Right, what's that digit then? Hang on. There might be a problem here. I think, tell you for a fact that if we are in this paradigm, that cell is not a 2. Because if that's a 2, that has to be a 2 as well. Because if that's a 2, that's a 4 and a 6, and you can't make this a 10. So you have to make it a difference, and that's going to be the same as that digit. If that's a 4, that is going to be a 2 and a 6. That can't be 4 because that's a 4, and it can't be 8 because that's an 8. Good grief. If that's a 6, that's a 2 and a 4. 2. Hang on. Have I done this? Am I doing this wrong? Maybe I can make this the difference. Hang on. I'm questioning everything. If this is 4, 6. I can't. This has to. I mean, no, I think what I said was correct. I'm just sort of getting concerned that I'm eliding over some important logic here. If that's a 4, this is a 2, 6. This either has to be an 8, which it clearly can't be, or it has to be a 4. That is just true. That is just true. And neither works. All right. So if we are in this world, this has to be a 6. This has to be a 2, 4 pair. And now that can't be a 2. So that's interesting. That would have to be a 4, and that means that has to be double 2. That just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't matter what you do. There is no way to make this line work. That's really hard to see. Let me just have a stare at this for a moment and just think about whether I can articulate this in a way that makes it less complicated, at least for me. So if we do go with 2, 4, 6 here, is there a way to see that this is immediately broken? I can see it's absolutely fair to say and visualizable that this square here is 4 or 6. Because I've made these both even. This has to be even. It has to be 4 or 6. I can also see, I suppose, that if this is 6 now, you can't repeat 6 on the line. So if this is 6, that has to be 2, 4, and that's going to lead to a repeated 6. So maybe it's better to come at it from this digit's perspective. Whereas if this is 4, well, it could be a 2, 6 there, but that makes that a 4, so that doesn't work. Or this has to sum to 4, and it can't. Yeah, okay, so if you approach it from this digit's perspective, it's clearer. It's easier to see. It's still, don't get me wrong, this is not easy to see at all. At all. But we have got another deduction now, because we have worked out that this is not 1, 7, 8. So this is 2, 6, 8. So there's loads of even digits, which is great. So these digits are now 1, 7, and 4. Okay. Oh, bobbins, bobbins, bobbins. Right, so okay. 6 is in one of those two cells by Sudoku. 2 is in one of those three. I don't really like the look of that. This being a 1, well, maybe this is parity again. No, learning this is odd is not going to, it's not going to butter our parsnips, is it? And it doesn't need to be odd anyway. I think it could be even. If this is even and that's 1, 7, that's fine. How can this be true? Okay, let's think about it differently then. Maybe I've got to actually think about the value that this can be rather than the parity it can be. If this has got a 7 on it, this line, obviously it could be 7 and 4, but that would be a difference, so that would be a 3. It could be 7 and 1, and that would be a 6, because again it couldn't be 8. And if it's not got 7 on it, it could be 4 and 1 adding to 5. Don't see why that's impossible. Or it could be 4 and 1 and take the difference, and that would be 3. Okay, so that's 3, 5 or 6, and that is absolutely useless. It's quite incredibly useless. No, literally quite incredibly useless. Right, okay, so it's going to be, he says without any confidence at all, this line. Right. Right, okay, here's something interesting. This is another of these lines that's got length to it. So, it's either, well, it can't be an even line, because we know that if a line begins with 2 evens, it's all even, and that's going to put far too many even digits in this row. So this has got some oddness to it, but we know that any line that's got oddness to it will eventually have evenness to it because of the way that numbers work. So this line, which is a 6-cell line, has 2 evens and 4 odds on it, because it must have exactly the same sort of parity that is. Now the question is, where do the even digits go on this line? Well, yes, that is a good question. There's a 6 in one of... Oh, I've broken the puzzle. Oh no, I haven't. Or have I? That's a 4. Oh, I haven't broken it. Oh, that was so horrible. I cannot tell you how horrible that moment was. Right. Let me explain my thinking, and then I'm correcting my thinking as I'm going in order to get to the answer that I now think might be possible. These 3 cells, I know this line has 2 even digits on it and 4 odds because of the nature of lines in this sort of puzzle. So, can I put the 2 evens in that string? No, they'd be too close together. We know that the evens are always separated by 2 odds. That means that I've got to put some evenness in here. But I know I can only put 1 evenness in here, and it's got to be a 4, so it's got to go there. So that's even, and that tells us the whole nature of this line. This is so brilliant. It's really hard, don't get me wrong, but it's brilliant. All of those now turn odd. Now, we know that the line must go double odd, because we know these two have to either sum to this or be the difference to give that. Now that cell, therefore, is even by exactly the same principle, and that is odd. Now that cell, look, is 6 or 8. Oh dear, dear, dear. This is one of the hardest puzzles that we've done on the channel. It is so hard. It's really, I don't know, it's really arithmetic in a very unusual way. You're constantly having to juggle parity and sums and differences. Okay, I don't really know where to look now. I know that's odd. I know it's not 1. I know that's 4. Right. Okay, so those two are odd. Are they adding up to 4? If they add up to 4, no, that doesn't work. Because if that's a 1-3 pair, there is simply no number I can put in here that's going to... Oh yes, that's a way of thinking about this. Because these digits see each other, these 2 cells have to be the sum of one of these. They have to sum to one of these and be the difference between the other. Well, we've just worked out they don't sum to 4, because then, you know, their difference is not going to give you 6 or 8. So we know their difference is 4, which means they could be... yeah, okay, it's going to be 1, 5, isn't it? Because 1 and 5 do add up to 6. If it's not 1, 5, it's odd numbers, so it could be 3. No, 3 and 7 add up to much more than 6 or 8. So it's got to be 1 and 5, because we're heading upwards from 3 and 7. We're only going to get into higher worlds and bigger numbers than 6s and 8 by even more amounts. So this is a 1, 5 pair, and that means that's not a 5. And that, ooh, so I've got a 2, 7, 9 triple here now. Well, that must have a 9 in it there. There must be a 9 in one of those, and that means that's not 9. So I've got a 2, 5, 7 here now. So yeah, okay. So now, so if that's 9, let me think about this. If this is 9, this is 2, 7. This is 2, 7, and that's 5. So it's either those two that pair up in a sort of 9, 5 combination, or if that's 9, we know that's going to be 5. So one of those two things is true. I'm so sorry if you're all shouting at me here. I'm starting to get tired as well. It's really, really difficult for me to keep my focus for 1 hour, the 90 minutes I've been going so far. I've still got great swathes of this grid unfilled. Okay, do I know what they are then? Oh, well, I know this is 1 and 5. This is 6, of course, now. I could have filled that in the moment. I knew that was 1, 5. So that's not 6. That's not 6. These two cells are both odd. Ooh, I could use uniqueness to tell me they're not 1 and 5, because if they were 1 and 5, there would be nothing about the logic of this puzzle that would determine the orders of the... We'd either have double 1 there or double 1 there. And you can see, you know, this is like an internal puzzle you could take out of the rest of the puzzle. Because there's nothing about the logic in the rest of the puzzle that can affect these cells if this was a 1-5 pair. But I won't use uniqueness. So this could be a 1 and 5, or it could be 7 and 1, and that would be the difference. Or it could be 9 and 3. Is there a reason it can't be 9 and 3? 9 and 3 was problematic up there, but I think here it's not too bad, is it? Oh no, it would be a problem there. Oh, hang on. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking 9 and 3 is fine here, but it's not fine for this digit. Yeah, this digit either... Yeah, let's think about those 3 cells. That's more sensible. I wasn't doing that at all. I was just focusing on these 2. So if this is 1, this has to be 7 or 5. If this is 5, this has to be 1. So, okay, this is 1, 5 or 7. And then that cell is also 1, 5 or 7. Oh, bother. Well, I know there's going to be a 7 here, which doesn't actually seem to do anything. And I won't use... Oh, it would do. Hang on, it would do. Look, that's not 7 anymore. So this is a 1-5 pair. I won't... I'm still not going to... I'm still not prepared to use uniqueness. So, okay, we will know this digit is 7, but I won't use that fact. These digits now... digits have got to be 3, 7, and 9. And that means that's not 7. And literally, it still doesn't give me anything. It still will not relinquish its secrets. It just doesn't. It just will not give them up. That's amazing. Right, where else are we going to look then? We shall look at whether that digit can be a 6. If that digit's a 6, that digit's... Actually, that is quite interesting, because that digit would have to be odd. And that seems to be ruling thing. Wow, that's almost amazing. It's almost amazing. I don't think it quite works though. If that's a 6, what I'm thinking about, if this is a 6, you can see by parity this has to be odd, which means it's a 1 or a 7. But then I was thinking about this 8 on this line, and we know that. Well, do we know 8? No, we don't know whether 8's the biggest digit. But let's take for a moment the situation where 8 is the biggest digit. How does this work for this? This is, I bet you this is there's something going on here. Because this cell gets reduced to 1 or 7. This cell gets reduced to 3 or 5. This is too coincidental to not be important. Because if this is a 6 then, we're saying that this is forced. Oh, this doesn't... Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness, this is it. Right. This is really difficult, but it's really cool. Because if 8 was the biggest digit on this line, it now can't be 2 and 6 adding to 8. It can't be 1 and 7 adding to 8. And it can't be 3 and 5 adding to 8. All of those things are ruled out. In other words, this 9 has to be the biggest digit on this line, along with 8, which means there's a 1 on the line. And then the question is, well, what's this digit? And this digit suddenly has to become a 7. But how are this digit then needs to be a 1, because it can't be a 13. And we know that it's not a 1, it's a 3, 7, or it's not a 1 for that reason. So this doesn't work. That's really, really beautiful and incredibly, incredibly complicated. So that, well, and it's not going to do anything either. It gives me a 6 here. It makes this, oh no, hang on. That is important. Oh, it is beautiful. Good grief. Whoa. Okay, well, that digit is now odd. Whoops. It's odd, and it has to be a 3 or a 9, I think, by the fact we've got the 1, 5 here. But the more interesting thing is, that's 2 odds on a line, so that digit is, yep, even. It seems to only be able to be 4. That means these are both odd, and that means that is even. And that's 6. Good grief. So that's even. It's 6. That's 3 by the power of magic, pure magic. That's now odd, which means they, oh, look. So this is a 6-8 pair, and that 6 tells me the order. So that's 6, that's 8, that's 2 out of absolutely nowhere. Look, this is getting filled in. That's 6, that's 8. Oh, lovely, lovely. Keep going with this. 8's in one of these two, 8's in one of those two. So 8 gets ruled out of those cells. That's got to be the 8 in column 7 now. Where does 3 go in column 7? It's got to go there by the power of Sudoku. That is outrageous to make me do Sudoku at this stage of a puzzle. Fistomefel, let me tell you, there is no acceptable point in a Sudoku puzzle at which you should make me do Sudoku. You know this by now. Now it's looking a bit more filled in. These are both even. So I've got all the evens in this row. So that's not 2 I'm suddenly seeing. So all of these turn odd. I improve upon that probably somehow. I wish I knew where the high digit was over here. I bet there's a way you can learn that. 3 is in one of those 2 cells. This is a 4, so how are we going to make this work? Oh, 3 and 7 work. They can't have a 9. 9 doesn't work here. That would have to be a 5. Ah, okay, so that's 3 and that's 7. Let me just double check there is no other possibility. That does seem to be true. So, okay, that's good. Oh, this is good. This is huge. Now that's become a 2, but much more interesting, that's become a 9, and that's become a 7. But if 9 is the top digit, we know that's the alternate digit, so that's the 5. This is now 7, this is 2 by Sudoku, come on. Come on, please. Right, all these digits now are all odd, apart from that one, which is even. Okay, alright, these are all even, so these are all odd. Okay, so this, oh, this is a 1-7 pair then. Oh no, it could be a 1-9, I don't believe it, it could be a 1, oh, it's still not. Alright, Sudoku then. I'm going to use Sudoku. There are 1 and 7 in this row, which are over here. And that means that I can't put the 9 with the 1 here. So the 9 has to go there, which means that's 3, that's 9. These 2 squares are 2 and something. Oh God, my scanning has just disappeared on me. It's 2 and 5. What are those squares? 1, 4, and 9, I want to say. None of which... Oh, the 7 here is resolving some things. That's 7, that's 1. Okay. Alright, let's try this row. We need 3, 4, and 8, I want to say. 3, 4, and 8. And I know there's an 8 over there, so that's not 8. is it 3 or 4? And the answer is I don't know. I don't think I know anyway. What about that over there? Oh, again. Oh, no, the 3, 8. That is not a deadly pattern because this line is probably going to matter. Okay. 6 is in one of those positions. Can 6 be here? Yes, 6, 3, 9 would work. 6, 8, no. Okay, so it would have to be 6, 3, 9. Why doesn't that work? Probably does. Okay, let's try something else then. We'll try... I don't know, sorry. I'm absolutely convinced everyone is shouting at me now. This is 1, 7. Can I do some Sudoku? Maybe. Maybe there's Sudoku to do. Let's try that. We could do... I don't know that there is actually. These are 2, 4, 5 or 9. But I know absolutely nothing about the final 2 columns. So I don't think I can do any eliminations there. Alright, let's try... Is that digit restricted? 1, 4, 5, 7, 9. 1, 4, 5... 1, 4, 5, 9. Literally, it's got all the options you could possibly imagine. Okay, I'm going to try this row now, where I can see I need 1, 5 and something. Is it 3? I'm desperately staring at this, trying to work out why that's... I mean, that... Oh, yeah, okay. That's it. That's it. Right, this is where we had to look. I've now got a 1, 3, 5 triple here. So there's a 3 in one of those cells, which means that's not 3. But more interesting than that, that cell has become what we always knew it was going to be. It's become a 7, which must partner up with a 1 in order to give us a sensible number here. So this is 5, this is 1. So that's 4 at the top. We can get rid of 7 from this cell. And we can get rid of something, 1 and 4 from this cell. So we get a 5, 9 pair. That's odd, therefore. This 1 is giving me a 4 here. That gets me a 1 up here. I've got a 4, 9 pair here. That means I've got a 3 here, look. Which means these squares are now a 4, 8 pair. They're both even then. So that means that's odd. This is... Oh, that's a 1 by Sudoku, so this is 5. That looks okay, doesn't it? So that's given me more things to do. That's odd. These are a mixture. These are a mixture. And down here, right, we've got a 3, 5 pair now. And those 2 squares in the corner are 9 and 2. Well, at least we're not getting any clashes yet. I mean, that's something to be grateful for. It must be this line, mustn't it? That's the only thing really we've got left to think about. So for some reason... Right, it must be this cell. It must be this cell. Why is it that? Well, what are the options for this cell then? In theory, it could be 2, 4, 5, I think. 6, yes. 7, no. 8, no. 9, maybe, as well. So this digit is not under any pressure at all. Okay, so it must be the options somehow here that are difficult. Let's try... Well, this is not 9, because there's no way those 2 digits can add up to 9. So there we go. We've got one immediate improvement. Oh, it's parity. Yeah. It is parity. Yes, it's parity. Right. How could that be 5? And the answer is it can't be, because now these are both odd, which makes this even at 8, but there's no way of making those two add up to 8 or have a difference of 8. It's just not going to work. So that means that's not 5. And if that's not 5, what is it? Well, I don't know anything apart from it's even. And an even and an odd on a line must be joined by an odd in order to make parity work. So that's suddenly become a 3. That's become an 8. That's become an 8. That's become a 4. Don't know if that's going to finish it, but hopefully it might. That's become a 3. That's become a 5. Please. Please work. I don't think it's going to. If that's a... Okay, that can't be 7 now, because I can't see how that can work. 7 and 3 is 10, and 7 minus 3 is 4. So that's not 7. So this is a 5-9 pair. That's a 7. That's a 7. That's a 1. That's a naked single. That's a 6 now. So that's a 1. Ah! Aha! I've got a 6 on this line. 6 and 3... Well, we can't put 3 again. That's got to be 9. That's 5. That's 9. That's 9. That's 4. Oh, this is quite exciting. Please let me have got this right. That cell, where does 5 go in this row? It's got to go in the middle. So that's 5. That's 2. 2, 2. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 9. We don't like the look of this. That's 4. And that's 5. Right, let's just double click everything and see if we can get everything shaded in the correct parity. And then we'll click and see whether we've got the puzzle right. Oh! Did it? Okay, that's one of the longest solves ever. I was expecting it. It's brilliant. It requires completely new thinking by my little brain at any rate. It is an arithmetical masterclass from Phistomefel. Quite extraordinary. How these little lines can produce a puzzle of that complexity it's baffling. The man is a complete and utter genius. You know, as usual, I'm not sort of lost for words. I mean, can you imagine a more sophisticated puzzle than that being made with this simple rule? The answer is no. The logic around this loop and the fact that the way that the parity works is so weird and interesting, and where high digits have to go. And then the way that line worked, everything was surprising. Like, you can't put an 8 there, but you can put 1 there. That just doesn't look like it should be a thing. And yet it is. And there was that beautiful thing here, where this line, what was it? You couldn't have a 6 here, because it had a whole chain of very foreseeable consequences, actually, because all the options suddenly came down to things I associate with the number 8. I mean, I loved it. I loved it, especially because I've done it. That's if you like seeing more puzzles like this, maybe that's even worth you buying a book. If you enjoyed that really a lot, if you're still with me at this point, you definitely would like the book. I really think you would. Join the Kickstarter. Thank you so much for watching. Anybody who is here in the 100th minute nigh on of this video, I do appreciate it. I do enjoy the comments, especially if they're kind. Please don't be too harsh on me today. That was really difficult, I think. Other people have said that's really difficult, and the number of requests we've had to solve it suggests it's really, really difficult. So if I have missed all sorts of things during the solve, yeah, please don't be too harsh on me. But I've enjoyed your company, and we'll see you again later for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Phew.